Album is it's a little bit of everything. It's not just rap. It's not just rock. It's not just jazz. Alternative. It's like a little bit of everything.
Hey you guys, it's Icy Eye Candy, also known as Miss Business, back with another video. And I can't help but to sound down when I'm talking about this situation because I know right now Juice WRLD is not wanting the stuff that's coming out right now to be coming out right now. And the other thing is too, this photo turned up in the news, and I just don't understand the world we live in today, where someone would pull out a camera and take this picture before getting down and trying to help him. Yeah, we about to get into the story on Juice WRLD and talk a little bit.
I know that you don't need me. It's kinda sexy when I want it, but you tease me. And you don't let them get inside of your head. Cause you know when I leave, I'll be back to your bed. Cause girl, we got a good thing. So I can't let them fuck this up, ready for wedding rings. One of a kind, glad your mind's such a blessing. Future baby mama, if you're ready.
Okay. So for those of you who didn't see my previous video or one of my previous videos, so of course you know at this point Juice WRLD has passed away or at the hospital after getting a seizure at the airport. And of course an investigation gets started immediately. You know, what happened, what's going on. All his crew, all his friends, police are talking to them. They want to know what happened. Everybody's at the airport. Everything is really hectic. They confiscate his luggage. They confiscate everything that they all have. Tell him they want to talk to them. They want to know what he was doing before he died, who was with him. They go through his bags and boom, this happens. You know, and you can't help but feel bad for the kid. You know, granted, obviously he was doing some stuff he wasn't supposed to be doing. He's got over 170 pounds of marijuana in his bags that they have from the private jet that he was in. 170 pounds of marijuana. Do you know how much that is? That's felony status. That is probably equates to like $150,000, maybe $200,000. I don't know, but something up there. You know, this is why life is so unexpected, and we never know how we're gonna go or what's gonna happen to us. So we want to just try to always maintain and live a certain way so that if by any chance we do end up going tomorrow, at least, you know, things are in a little bit of a decent order. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. Next thing I want to understand is who took this picture. Granted, people are saying in this picture was when he was unconscious, he wasn't dead. But at the same time, rather than a person going over to try to help him, they literally leave him there. That just blows my mind. Because I do understand when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. You know, God calls you when he calls you. But you just never know. Maybe somebody could have been able to save him or revive him or do something rather than just sitting there taking a photo and waiting for paramedics to get there. You know, it's just things that go through your mind. And again, this is all alleged based on what came out on the news. But when you see that photo and that is surfacing all over the web, it just really makes you wonder and makes you think about the world that we're living in right now. And what makes it worse is that you know that Juice WRLD right now in spirit is just like, oh no. Because all the things that are going to get ready to come out in the next few days, I don't even really want to hear it because I know that it's not going to be anything positive. You know, if they found that in his suitcase, who knows what they're going to find in his house? Who knows what they're going to find in his car? Who knows what they're going to come out with in the autopsy? And it's like, it's just going to overshadow this man's talent. It's going to overshadow this man's abilities that he was able to touch so many people's lives through his music. At the end of the day, I feel bad for him. I do. I have to feel bad for him because granted, I know he lived a certain type of lifestyle and you reap what you sow. And he sure did put it out into the universe that he wasn't going to live past 21. And he sure did, you know, confess to us about his, you know, his darkness with drugs and his drug use. But I also feel bad for him because I feel like he had a lot of demons. And I do feel like he was trying to come out of them, you know. But sometimes when you're so far into something, it's hard to come out because you feel like you're drowning. You're like pushing your hands up above water, and it's like you can't seem to get out because it's all around you. And that's what I feel was the situation with Juice WRLD. I feel like it was all around him. I feel like even if he was reaching up out the water to try to get out of it because he was drowning, I feel like all of it was pulling him down because it was all around him. And by that I mean all his friends, his company. I know his girlfriend was trying to get him to stop using certain drugs, but all the people that were around him were enablers. And we starting to think that a lot of people that were around him, now that we see all this stuff, that they were using him. Because clearly, you don't have 170 pounds of weed for personal use for yourself. We know they all like to smoke. Every video that they had these fat, the biggest, blunts I've seen. They like to smoke. But you're not going to be traveling. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, where was he traveling from? He was traveling from Australia. Was it Australia? Or he was traveling from somewhere. I don't know where he was traveling from. But he was traveling from somewhere to Chicago. And you don't just carry 170 pounds of marijuana into Chicago for personal use. You just don't. So you already know right then and there, it implicates him in being involved with something bigger than what we really want to hear about right now. And granted, I know he's about that gang life. I know he's a part of, all of this stuff that makes him a product of his environment growing up. And yes, he did come out of that. He was a celebrity. He was famous. He had everything at his fingertips. But when you're a product of your environment and you're trying not to change, you're trying not to switch up, you're trying to be the same person you always been, you're going to keep that same stuff around you. That same stuff around you. And we know that he didn't have the best influences around him. The only thing I could say is that his girlfriend, Allie, I don't think she was that great of an influence either, but I do believe that she got scared seeing him in certain situations, and she begged him to stop with certain things he was doing. And he wanted to stop. He said he wanted to stop. He came out publicly and said he wants to stop doing these things. He started trying to be more uplifting and talking to kids in school and, trying to make sure that people weren't going to go down the same path he went down. But the problem is that he was already in too deep. He really was already in too deep, and it's really, really sad. I'm actually not looking forward to the next couple of days that's ahead of us. I'm not looking forward to it because I know that a lot is going to come out. I know that the autopsy is going to come out. It's going to show some things. They're going to go to his house. That might show some things. They might check his cars. That might show some things, So I just ask you guys, in the next couple of days, as developments come about of, his autopsy, what they may find in his home, what they may find in his cars, what they may find in his phone. I just ask you to act with compassion. He has family members that I'm pretty sure are grieving, and he is a legend in his own right. I want people to remember his music. I want people to remember that he touched a lot of people's lives, a lot of young people's lives at that. While he wasn't exactly promoting the best behavior, he did come out and talk to kids in school and say, don't do what I did. I started using drugs and drinking lean in the 6th and 7th grade, looking up and, glorifying, idolizing rappers that were doing these things, and I started doing it. Don't be me. He was going around telling kids not to do that and to try to say how they feel. If you're feeling a certain kind of way, talk about it, speak up. Those are all things that he wanted to pass on because he never got that when he was younger. And he tried to change his life. He tried to stop the drug use. He tried to turn things around, but, unfortunately, he was in too deep and his demons got the best of him. I just want you to remember that he is a talent. He is a legend within his own right. And, there's a quote that I love that says, "When words fail, music speaks." And although we won't be able to hear him talking, to the youth and doing all the things that he wanted to do, his music is going to live on forever. So I ask that in the next few days, when all these different developments come out, I ask you to just try your best to have some compassion and to remember that he was very, very young. Very, very young. He was pretty much still a kid. His birthday was last week. He had just turned 21. And a lot of the mistakes he made because he was a product of his environment. So I think we should remember that, and I think we should remember his family is still grieving. His friends are still grieving. His girlfriend is still grieving. And his fans are still grieving. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, smash the like button. Comment down below. Tell me, were you a fan? What did you think about his music? And subscribe.
I know that you don't need me. It's kinda sexy when I want it, but you tease me. And you don't let them get inside of your head. Cause you know when I leave, I'll be back to your bed. Cause girl, we got a good thing. So I can't let them fuck this up, ready for wedding rings. One of a kind, glad your mind's such a blessing. Future baby mama, if you're ready.
Okay, smash that like button. Hit the subscribe. And get ready to leave all your comments, because I'm going to want to hear your opinion on this one.